Hello, Doug here from The Hundredfold Journey. Thanks for joining us today as we get an opportunity to meet Gary Buckmann, an author of a new book out that's going to be released next Friday called Broken to Brilliant: Overcome Obstacles to Create Opportunities and Achieve the Impossible. This is just one more tool in your toolkit as we come alongside you as a hundredfold, because a hundredfold journey is about a group of people that are looking to find their true identity, and by doing so, finding God's true identity. So Gary, it's a pleasure to meet you for the first time, and the honor of being able to be one of the first to read your book. So I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for taking the time for the interview today.
Well, thanks for doing the interview, Doug.
All right, you got
I
it.
appreciate it.
You got it. So just to give a brief overview, some background for Gary. Gary started his career in 1968 in gymnastics and coaching. For 46 years, he was able to reach the highest levels in his sport. These include USA National Team Coach for the Team USA Gymnastics team, as the USA National Team Coach and head coach of the USA Junior Elite National Team. He took Olympic gold medal winner Mary Lou Retton on her very first international trip and traveled to Japan with Peter Vidmar, Tim Daggett, and Mitch Gaylord, all of which were 1984 Olympic gold medal winners. Amazingly, he taught Brian Bottano, the 1988 men's single ice skating Olympic gold medal winner, a backflip. He was also the master clinician at national symposiums in the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and South Africa. Pretty amazing resume. But what if I told you that Gary did this all after he landed head first after a vault in gymnastics, which left him paralyzed from the neck down? That's broken to brilliant. That's what you've done. And to quote you in the book, no freaking way would you have ever imagined that.
Yeah.
So you retired in 2014, and here it is 2021. What caused you to, after 46 years of gymnastics and leadership and coaching, and then retiring, 7-8 years later, to write this book? What was the motivation?
Well, I actually started writing down stories back in 2000, and then I kind of left it. And then on my travels for personal development, I started telling my story to people, and people were saying how inspiring it was. And they said that this story needs to get out there, and the world needs to know about it. And so in 2018, I started writing. And then as the pandemic hit in 2020, I had all kinds of time. Right. And I saw the gift in that, in the pandemic, to where it gave me time to really focus. And I finished the book last year, and now it's coming out.
Oh, fantastic. What a great story. And the story is a really good read, and very easy to read, because it's just a storyline, and we hear Gary's thoughts about what he's thinking about. It's pretty amazing. So if you can give us like a quick summary of the book, just to introduce it, so that people are aware of kind of the background of what we're talking through.
Sure. It's a memoir of my life from childhood until present day. And it's, all about my experiences, and it's centered around my recovery from breaking my neck and being paralyzed. But it's connecting all the dots of my life, all the way from childhood all the way up, that enabled me to be able to heal myself and have the inner strength and power to do that.
Right. Amazing. So you called your journey at age 20 the start of your transformational awareness journey, starting at age 20. Is that you looking back now today and seeing it that way, or did that come over a period of time?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It came over a period of time. Instantly, when I lost, everything in my body, I didn't take it for granted anymore. It changed me.
Yes.
And I was always getting everything through the physical, and I had to start to go inward after that. So, but then basically it's from, now hindsight, looking back and saying, oh my gosh, this is why this happened. It's so exciting for me, because I had so many aha moments when I was writing the book to say, oh my gosh, this is why this happened. I started to realize that things happened for me. And I think they happen for all of us. But we all, including myself, I thought things happened to me.
Yes.
And so once I adopted that and realized that, it was so exciting.
So it was your way of connecting the dots.
Exactly.
And what we say at 100-fold is a breadcrumb trail. There's a breadcrumb trail out there that we follow, and a lot of times we miss that. So being able to look back at it and see that and the progress, amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and it's interesting, you say that breaking your neck was one of the best things that ever happened to you.
Yes.
That it forced you to look at all things differently and to create an amazing life. Tell me what path you felt you were on at age 20 before the accident, and where do you think that path was taking you?
Oof. I was on a egotistical path. I went from, in high school, being a joke, being a gymnast, because we weren't accepted as real athletes then, to going to Chico State where, we had crowds of over 6,000 people plus, and becoming an instant celebrity on campus. All of a sudden, this 5'7" little guy was big man on campus and got a big head, was going down the wrong road, thought I was all of this and all of that. And if I would have kept on that trail, I would never have reached the potential that I was able to find after I got hurt.
Yeah. So it woke you up.
It woke me up, yeah.
And why do you think it took breaking your neck for you to find this new path?
Well, because I guess because I was a little guy, and I gained all of my recognition over the years through physical feats. Well, then, God and the universe said, okay, let's take the physicality away from them. And then I thought, who am I? What am I doing? And then I had to turn inward. And once I turned inward, I discovered so much more about me. And then that enabled me to reach my full potential.
Gotcha. Amazing. How about those that have had a catastrophic event? What advice would you give them about awareness and perspective?
Well, pretty much I'd give them the same advice. I'd tell them to, turn inward and look inward and trust their instincts. But at the same time, I would invite them to adopt the attitude and concepts and ideas of everything happens for you, not to you. And when you can do that, you can start to see the gift in everything, even the catastrophic things, the devastating things that happen to us in our lives. And when you can see the gift in it, it opens up your creativity, and it makes opportunities and synchronicities happen. It's just you and the power of the universe to help you.
Right. And instead of coming from a state of victimhood, this is against me. It's a state of for my growth and for my benefit.
Yes. Yeah. No matter how bad it feels.
So let's transfer into, you're now in the hospital, right? And you hear this news, and it's basically you have a 24-hour, what you call a 24-hour pity party, where the doctor's given you this terrible news that you're never going to walk again, right? And then you have this pity party for 24 hours. Yet it's only 24 hours, which is amazing. So explain how you were able to catapult yourself out of that pity party, because I know for a lot of us, we want more than 24 hours, right? We want weeks, months, in some cases years. So describe how you were able to get out of that so quickly.
Well, and that's a good point you made. There is no timetable to learning or whenever it's going to happen. But for me, it was, I wanted to get going right away. I did not want to, accept that prognosis and diagnosis and have my life like that. I had witnessed my grandmother at age 12 have a stroke and take half of her body. And she never recovered and had to be taken care of for the rest of her life. And then she died. And I said, no way, I'm not going to have that kind of a life. So I gave myself 24 hours. I just kind of set that for myself. And like I said, there's no timetable. But I set that for myself, and then I decided, I'm healing myself.
Right. Amazing. So I'm sure some of our listeners are aware of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He had an accident in 1986. He was 23 years old, and he was riding a bike in a triathlon and got hit by an SUV and basically had 23 broken bones and 6 vertebrae. And after seeing 2 doctors, they described, you're never going to walk again unless we do the surgery where we put these poles in your back, metal poles in your back. Yet he decided, like Gary, no, I'm not going to accept that. So he decided to go inward. He decided to do the meditation and go into the subconscious and actually heal himself. And after 12 weeks, he was able to do that. Now, again, he did this in 1986. He was 23 years old. You did it at age 20 in 1970. So, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he would be someone that we could look back at and say, if he could do it, then I could do it. You didn't have anybody to look back on. Where did you get the strength, the energy, just the wisdom to be able to do that at age 20?
Well, I think it stems all the way back to my mother.
Okay.
She was 4'11", 90 pounds. She is this tough Iowa farm girl that was just tenacious. And she always told me that dynamite comes in small packages and you can do anything that you want. And so when I was in the hospital, when I made a decision, then everything started happening. I mean, of course, it didn't happen overnight. But it's so amazing about Dr. Joe Dispenza because when I read his book, I went, oh my gosh, he's got all the science to back up what I did. I didn't even know what I did. And now he's got an explanation for it. So that was exciting for me. Yeah. But I think that my inspiration, came from my mother because she was something else, I can tell you. She was a powerful little woman.
Yeah. You mentioned she was a track runner or...
Yeah, she was on the track team in high school. Yeah.
And you even challenged her once, and the outcome wasn't so good, but you'll have to read the book to get the rest of that story. So here at A Hundredfold, we talk a lot about the power of our thoughts and our subconscious mind. We talk about God's Spirit being the power energy that has given us this power for co-creation. So did you tap into that? And if so, how and when did that happen?
Well, like I said, at the time, I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I wasn't that spiritual at the time. But I did have a feeling. I did have, an inner knowing inside my heart that I could heal myself. I didn't know how. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I had no idea how this was going to happen. But that feeling, which now I know is spirit talking to me, just kept me going. And instantly, I meant, from being an athlete, being a gymnast, 24/7, laying on my back, I had nothing better to do. I just reverted back into, visualizing. And I got so detail oriented. I saw the nerve impulses going from my brain back to my muscles, making them work again. And I saw myself healthy and vibrant, going back to school, going to football games with my teammates, living back in the house, going on to my dream job as a coach, all of that. So,
That's everything that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, right?
Exactly.
Setting the attention, getting the emotion behind it. And you did all of that, years before he figured it out. So
yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. All right, excellent. So getting back to the content of the book, I'm just going to shoot some names out at you and then kind of a rapid fire, just in a few sentences. Tell me the impact that these individuals had in your healing process. So you've already talked about your mom, but just real quick on your mom.
Well, I would say tenacity and believing in myself. Those
Okay.
two
How about
things.
your dad?
My dad was eye for detail and consistency.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Now, Marilyn Ingram, a friend who taught you how to dance.
Well, she taught me how to overcome fear. Emotional fear, because physically I could do things, but emotionally that paralyzes a lot of us. And she helped me immensely in that way.
Yeah, that's great. How about Maurice Williams, the big tough guy who became a good friend?
Yeah, that was probably the biggest obstacle that I needed to overcome if I wanted to survive in my house.
Yes.
The team house, and it taught me to be very creative and use my own gifts and talents to be able to come up with a solution to solve that obstacle.
Another good reason to buy the book, because that story is amazing as how he was able to overcome that situation. So it's a great storyline. So look forward to seeing that, having people see that. How about Robert, your best friend?
Oh boy, that's the support, the care, the concern, and the love. He was by my side the whole way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about your doctor?
That's a good one. I'm grateful for the that he put me back together. I mean, he was an excellent surgeon, and at the same time, I didn't take in everything that he was going to tell me that about. So it was, like I said, take what's good and
Yes.
release the rest.
Yes. Yeah, that's true to life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? As life comes at us, right? We have to be able to filter out the negativity and pull out the stuff that benefits us. So yeah, very good.
Yeah.
How about Earl, your roommate, hospital roommate?
Good old Earl. Yeah, he's a grandfather that I never had. He gave me wisdom and perspective that I would have never been exposed to.
Yeah, again, love the story with Earl in the book. You're going to love that portion of it. How about your team house? And why did you end up going there versus your parents?
Well, again, something, deep inside said that if I went home, that I probably wouldn't heal because my mother would do everything for me.
Right.
And so the team house was great. It was kind of like an Animal House atmosphere. You got a bunch of 20-year-olds in there.
Yeah.
A lot of humor. I was the butt of a lot of jokes, but they didn't treat me any different. And at the same time, they supported me when I needed, and they gave me tough love. Mm-hmm. So the team house was a godsend.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You had some great stories in there about the way they were treating you and teasing you, which kind of gave you energy because you were feeding off of that, just the humor and the excitement rather than, all right, another day, it kind of kept it alive for you. So,
yeah, they kept me out of victimhood for sure.
There you go. Exactly. How about Willie Simmons, your college professor?
He made me recognize my teaching genius that I wasn't aware of. Yeah.
He brought it out of you.
Yeah, he brought it right out because he is a genius teacher.
Yeah. Excellent. And then how about yourself, right?
Oh, myself, I would say, I'm adaptable. I'm disciplined, and I would say that I don't take myself too seriously. Mm-hmm.
As I'm looking through this list of names, you could even call these like breadcrumb trails or following the paths of light. Each one of these individuals had impact in your life, and you allowed them to come and to help you on your journey. And I think that's what we need to do, our audience, right, is finding those individuals and making sure that we're connected with them and help them as they help you. And it's a mutual agreement. So, and that's exactly what happened with Gary here.
Yeah.
So now let's move into the life lessons learned as we kind of get in the tail end here, not just from your injury, but also from what you learned about coaching and gymnastics in general. So you mentioned the soul searching you did while writing this book. You say that you were able to expose beliefs that defined you for decades. You call that process giving you a new truth. What new truth did you find?
Well, I discovered all the stories that I had been telling myself over the years. And we all have to do that to make sense out of our lives. Mm-hmm. Something traumatic happens to us, or somebody programmed us, or some kind of influence happened to us, or an experience. And then we say, oh, this is, I have to tell a story to myself to make sense out of it. And a good example of that is here I am, tell of two stories. Mm-hmm. I healed myself, but I had this, I'll give you an example. When I was 19 years old, before I broke my neck, my girlfriend and a bunch of friends wanted to teach me how to snow ski. Mm-hmm. So to make a long story short, it was a disaster. Mm-hmm. I went up, I wasn't dressed right. She didn't know how to teach me and do things. And I had a sprained ankle and, all these different things. And, it was the worst day of my life. My ego was bruised. I went back to the lodge and pouted all day. And then I made up a story. I don't like to snow ski. I'm not a snow skier. I'm a water skier. I don't like to be cold. So I could make sense out of it. And then 22 years later, when, a friend of mine said, I'm going to teach you how to snow ski. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not a snow skier. I'm a water skier. He goes, no, I'm going to teach you how to snow ski. So he took me up, and again, a long story short, he dressed me right, coached me right, and within an hour, I was skiing the intermediate slopes. And so I'm, it didn't make sense to me the first time around. Like, how I'm a gymnast, I have all this balance, strength, and flexibility. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm skiing, and then it hit me on the chairlift ride up. I was looking at this serene, quiet, beautiful Sierra mountainside, and I thought, wow, this is beautiful. And then I thought, what else have I been missing out on my life?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the kind of things that I wanted to, pass on to people, is saying, what stories are we telling ourselves that are holding us back from being who we truly are and reaching our full potential?
Right. Yeah, very true. Yeah, we talk about the power of your subconscious mind and how we program that in, and then it expresses itself in negative ways, like, no, I can't, or I won't, or I'm fearful about these things. Yeah. So doing the shadow work and finding out where that came from. So good for you for going through that process and identifying exactly what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book helped me a lot that way. That's when I was writing, I thought, oh my gosh, this is, the so-called bad things that happened to me were actually the catalyst for the good things to happen to me.
Right. Excellent. So you also highlight the term, we need to get back to basics, back to the basics. What do you mean by that?
Well, in this fast-paced, everything has to happen right away and everything, is we need to be able to get back to the basic skills and things that allow us to reach our full potential, and not be able and not be afraid, and shy away from the struggle, because we're going to have struggles in life. And the basics, one of the reasons that people skip the basics is because it is a struggle, but it teaches you so much, and it allows you to reach your full potential. As a coach, when I saw my athletes, a talented athlete, I could take that gymnast and push them fast and hard, but then they would hit a plateau and peak out. Instead, if you taught them the basics, they can reach their full potential, go all the way. And the same thing in life. If we stop and start to look at all of our stories that we tell ourselves or whatever else, and realize that, wow, without that happening to me, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's like sometimes, you blame people or situations for why I don't do things in life.
Yes. Yeah, it's their fault.
Yeah, that's not the truth.
That's right. Exactly. You have to go within.
Yep.
So how can you apply the basics to your daily life, or how have you done that in your daily life, and in what way?
Well, we have rituals that we do every morning. We get up and we send love out to everyone, to ourselves first, and then everyone else. And then we do prayers, meditation. We have tarot cards that we pull. They're not really tarot cards; they're spiritual cards.
Okay.
That we pull and it gives us messages and things. And we're really, really aware of our external language and our internal language. What are we saying to ourselves inside? And then, cancel clearing, saying, no, that's not true. And that way we're able to see the truth and reach our full potential.
Building Atomic Habits, which is another book out there that talks about being intentional and making those small incremental, going to the basics basically, and implementing that. Yeah,
it's like I talked a lot about in the book, and in the gym I always said it's minor adjustments that make a huge difference.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And he describes that in the book too, and some really good insight on how he performed that with gymnasts, and then the effect that it had on their lives outside of the gym. So that's was pretty interesting to hear that. Now, ending this interview with our final questions, what will be the aha moments that you would want your readers to take away from this book?
Well, I think the biggest one would be, I would invite everyone to adopt the concept that, life happens for you, not to you. Because once you do that, you can start to see the gifts in every occurrence in your life. And once you see the gifts, then that opens up all the opportunities and possibilities to, become who you truly are supposed to be and accomplish anything and everything that you want.
And here's a man that was paralyzed from the neck down making that statement. I mean, that's pretty incredible, because I've never had that experience, obviously, in my life. But to be able to say that and hear those words come out of your mouth is pretty incredible. So broken to brilliant. Amazing.
Thank you.
Now, let's end with this. You end the book with the statement that anything is possible. So what do you mean by anything is possible?
Well, I think that anything that you want to do in your life, whether it's big, small, or whatever, if you have the right mindset and you decide, make a decision that that's what you want to do, and not let the outside influences of the world stop you, the fear-based, thoughts and things that people say, no, you can't do that. That's not possible. Don't waste your time. Just follow your heart, follow your instincts, because that is Spirit and God speaking to you. That is the universe talking through you. And when you follow that, you can't go wrong. You're gonna reach your full potential.
Everything's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes the interview. Gary, thanks again for your time. So this book is releasing next Friday, March 12th, and it can be purchased through various means. One is through your website, which is GaryBuckmann.com.
Right.
And it's 2 N's, by the way, Buckmann.
Yeah, it's Buckmann.
There you go. And then also through Barnes & Noble and through Amazon.
Yeah, and when you go to Barnes & Noble and Amazon, type in my name. Then it will come up.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So again, be sure to pick up this book, Broken to Brilliant, Overcome Your Obstacles to Create Opportunities and Achieve the Impossible. Gary, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
All right. And we'll have links below for the purchase of the book, so you'll be able to find those quite easily. All right. That's it for this interview. Thanks again for joining us. This is Doug from A Hundredfold Journey. Bye for now.